Hey guys, so another installment in our audiobook series, Kids on a Case, The Case of the 10 Grand Kidnapping, read by my son. Some more free entertainment for this COVID self-isolation time. I'm afraid we might get interrupted by my dog once in a while. She seems hyper. This chapter is chapter 5, and it is called Gone, and my son will read it for you.
Kurt grabbed my arm. My leg was stuck. I was in time to just. I was in up to just above my knee. After trying unsuccessfully to get me out, Kurt ducked underneath the steps. I fell and grabbed my foot, and then I gave a huge push. Mayday, mayday, Ching called Mary. What's wrong? Tyler's foot fell through the steps. Relax, there's nobody there, but if there was, we would have grabbed Tyler by now, Mary laughed. I guess you're right, so police might have been right about having clearing doubt, Ching said with a sigh of relief. Ching looked back. I was struggling to get me free and thought, how stupid can I get? Corey and Laverne just got to me, so I will be there shortly. The walkie-talkie fuzz make it hard to hear. All right. I think my batteries are dying. This is over and out, Mary chirped as the radio died. Over and out, Ching said, barely able to make out the last part. Ching ran over to the steps and told them he'd help. Kurt, you'd better get out from under there, he shouted. Kurt scrambled from under the stairs. What are you gonna do? Watch and learn, my friend, Ching said smartly as he stomped on the floorboards beside my leg. I heard a loud crack. He stomped again. As the boards gave way beneath us, we both went tumbling down. I looked up to notice that boards between the door and the first 2 steps were gone. Ching and I threw the boards off of ourselves, and we got up. Extending my hand to Ching, I helped him up. We brushed ourselves. My left pant leg was torn up to the knee. My leg was scratched up from the boards. George suddenly appeared in the peeling painted doorway. You guys make enough noise to be heard across the town. What are you trying to do? Start the well-deserved demolition of this junkyard? We already searched up the stairs, and it's all clear. We could find anything, so the police must have cleared the place out really well. Now are the girls planning to come, or will you stand there playing house all day? When George started laughing really loud, David appeared beside George, and he started to laugh uncontrollably. Shut up, he all shouted angrily. Hey guys, we'll help you, Dave said, getting on his knees after offering his hand. He took our hands and crawled up into the house. It was dark, dingy and
Dingy.
dingy and musty smelling, and the walls were chipped to bits. We were searching the main floor a second time and went upstairs. Looked around, nothing. The police sure did a thorough job. There had to be something they missed. But what? They went back downstairs and heard something scurry across the floor behind us. And we all jumped. We whipped around to see what it was. It's just a rat. A gray, big, furry rat. Come on, guys, it's just a rat, I joked. You jumped too, George shouted. Guys, we heard Dave say and turned to look. That rat just disappeared underneath that tile right there. Dave pointed at the tile on the entry floor. Wait, of course. I'm so stupid. There was a cellar here somewhere. Remember, the law says that in all tornado-prone areas, you must have a cellar or an underground storm shelter. I wish we had one.
We've just got a basement. Keep reading.
We are in a tornado-prone area, so this place has to have a cellar, I shouted excitedly. Kerm ran to the top of the floor and noticed a little gap under it. He stuck his fingers underneath and lifted with all his might. The tile came up with a groan of rusty hinges. He let the door land with one thud, so it was lying on the floor. Looks like there's only one hinge working on this door. And look, there's already a stain on the surrounding tiles. It matches the outline of this door. That means the door had been opened and left open recently. Kurt pointed indicationally.
Indicating.
The stain. That is.
Keep going.
That was to be the only time I've ever been thankful for a rat, George joked. I looked around at everyone. All right, guys, I'm going down. I pulled up my flashlight and clicked it on. I started down the ladder, and I was immediately hit with a musty, gross odor. It smelled disgusting down here. Smells disgusting down here, I called up, joking. I continued down. There were spiders and cobwebs everywhere. A fly buzzed past my head and out the door. When I reached the bottom, I saw two old wooden chairs sitting in the middle of the floor. I shone my flashlight on the chairs. One had a white ring of wax. What's a white
wax?
Wax on it, like a burning candle might have been made while set on this chair. The other one had a bit of a brown cut rope underneath and a piece of folded paper. The paper was barely visible and covered up with mostly dirt. When I bent down to pick up this paper, I discovered a black pen inside. So I picked up both of these and stuck them in my pocket. I wrote down a little note I then wrote down a little notebook about the rope. Chairs and wax circles. Started to climb up the ladder. I could hear the girls' voices as they talked to the guys. I was almost up the ladder when a spider landed on my head. I rushed away. I lost my balance and slipped. I felt myself falling I felt myself falling, and shut out in fear. Next, I landed on the floor with a sink and thud. The misty smell and Corey's scream were the last thing I remembered for a while. "He's hurt," Corey shouted. She had been watching me climb up the ladder and had seen me fall. Someone run up and get help quick. Ching took off, running out the back door. Kim felt the car she was in come to what?
Kim felt the car she was in come to a lurching stop as it parked outside of the small cabin at Mount Raymore. We're back to her.
The woman beside her grabbed her roughly by the arm and pulled her out of the vehicle. Kim's feet were untied so she could walk, but her hands weren't left bound together. She stood in front of the woman and watched as the man hadn't seen before came up to her. He was a large man with broad shoulders. His face was slim, with a short, chubby nose. He sneered as he approached her. Looking over his sinister, appraising eyes, he stopped in front of her. He reached out his right hand with a weird and scary scar on it and brushed her hair from her face. Lifting her chin up, he studied her face. "You're quite a pretty little girl, Kimberly. You were definitely be worth something." She kicked him in the shin as hard as she could. And then, when the woman behind her went to grab her, she rammed both of her elbows into the woman's stomach. The woman bent over and Kim took off running for the forest. Pearsall stepped out behind the car and grabbed her as she ran by. She kicked and tried to scream the gag. But there was no use. The man just held her there and she was tired of struggling and settled down. The man with the scar walked up to her again. He put his face in front of hers and looked into her eyes. "Where'd you think you were going to? There are no other cabins for over a mile. That's a long walk when your hands are tied." Turning around, he got the small black truck. "Take her to Pearsall," through his truck's open window. I drove off. Pearsall threw her over his shoulder and carried her down the basement of the cabin. He sat her down on the floor beside the middle of the back wall. As he unlocked the door and turned on the light, she noticed an old man sitting in the chair in the far corner of the basement. He looked like he was unconscious, and he was tied to his chair. Still staring at the man, she felt herself being picked up again. Pearsall settled down on the floor of the room and untied her hands cautiously. Then he left the room and knocked the door. He looked around the room, said that it was completely empty with no windows. The walls were pale yellow, and there wasn't much in the room, but at least it was a light. Kim sat on the floor, hugging her knees, and sobbed quietly.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Kim. Lily McLellan and entered Chief Goodall's office, followed by Tawny Thompson. They both sat down in front of his desk, and as he looked up, "Well, any luck with the van?" he asked. Lee was the one who answered the question, yes and no. "We have 3 sets of prints in here. 2 are mystery sets, and Pascalatos. We also found hers and a couple of blood spots in the middle of the seat, and some in the passenger seat. We have our mystery people who are no longer mystery people. We have Thompson explained, but we have no clue what their next location. But at least we know Kim didn't go without a fight." Thompson set some papers on Goodall's desk. He started to explain. Goodall looked them over. A set of hairs we found was from Kim. Confirmed that it was the right van. The passenger seat blood spots were able to match to Pascalato through evidence we collected in other cases against him. The other blood spot was from a woman, one of our mystery prints. We had ran her DNA through a DNA database. We didn't find her in there. We found a man with a very similar DNA. In order for the DNA to be so similar, you would have to be a sibling, parent, or child. And whose DNA we found is the man we found. The
man we found
had found no siblings and did time for killing his parents, which leaves us to being a child of the man. The guy had one child, Jane Shelbourne, who was a mystery woman. She had been in juvenile detention, but her record was cleared when she turned 18, which is why we didn't find her in our database. The other mystery man was our driver. We found who he was through a picture taken when he spun through red light in license plate picture. His pictures matches his license from the man who bought the vehicle 2 weeks ago from a car dealership. It was Jerome Pearsall. He had been in juvenile detention as well, so we know everyone involved. Although we still have no sign of Scar. He'll show, but don't worry, he'll show. You can count on it. Thank you, guys. You've done great work. Let me know when you get new leads. Girl said. Dismissed both of them. When I opened my eyes, my doctor, Dr. Paul Johnson, bent over me and sitting on the edge of my bed. He was feeling my head and holding a nice pack on the lump I formed on the back of my head. I was so worried. Don't you ever do that, like anything like that again, Mom scolded. It's back to usual routine. Oh, Mom, I'm fine. The doctor got up. Mrs. Bowen, he shook his head.
He should rest a while.
He has a concussion. You're right. You should let him rest. She was furrowed
She furrowed her brows.
at me and said, "Someone definitely is in trouble." She turned and left my room. "Thanks, you probably saved my life." "Don't sweat it.
Sweat it.
I actually only delayed your punishment." He cleared his throat and said, "You, mister, you had better
take it easy.
for a while. You tried to stay out of trouble for once." I smiled and chuckled. I'll try, Doc. I'll try, Doc. But life ain't. But life just
Ain't as fun.
when I'm not out there causing mischief. Besides, if I was getting hurt all the time, you wouldn't have any excuse to come out here and get some of my mom's coffee and cookies, would you? He laughed heartily and replied, "That's true. That's true. But you should still try to keep out of trouble. One of these times you're gonna break your neck." "I'll try for you, Doc." That's always what you say," he said as he left my room and closed the door. I was soon asleep. When I woke up, it was already night. I looked over my clock. Midnight. Supper must be cold. Well, I'll make myself a sundae. I quickly got up to sit right back down because my head was spinning. I put down my hand to my head. "Get up slowly," I thought, making a mental note. So this time I got up slowly and crept quietly down the stairs. My head pounded painfully. I had to avoid the first step because I knew from the expert that it creaked. I knew from the experience that it creaked. When I got downstairs, I went straight to the washroom and put my head. I took something for my pounding head. After that, I went to the freezer, grabbed some ice cream, and immersed in the
maraschino cherry
on top. Is maraschino a natural thing?
It's candied cherries.
On top. After putting these into a bowl, I got the chocolate syrup and squeezed in some onto my ice cream. And then I took out the sprinkles and dumped some into my creation. I was processing
in the process
of making my creation to my bedroom when my dad walked out of his bedroom. "Uh-oh. Major Mayday." Just as I thought, he's always thinking about your stomach, my dad said, giving me a look. "I'm in trouble, aren't I?" "Yeah, your mom is quite upset." "I know, she worries about me too much. Because she loves you." I know. That's why you always tell me." I heard the door slam and I looked behind me. There's my little brother standing with a grin on his face. "Is he in trouble again, Daddy?" My daddy
your dorky little brother
always wanted me in trouble. When your mom wakes up, yes, he's in trouble. It's too late, I'm already up," I heard an angry noise say from downstairs.